With the trends these days, everybody really likes it thick. Oh, she's thick! Obviously, I'm talking about guitar. Duh. Today, I'm gonna be talking to you about how to use GarageBand to multi-track guitar, and that is to achieve a thicker guitar sound by simultaneously tracking a direct input guitar as well as the same sound using an amp. To mic the amplifier behind me, I'm going to be using the Sennheiser 𝔸𝔻𝕆𝔸𝕄. You're of course also going to need an XLR cable. I'm also going to be using my Gator Mic Stand. Today I'm going to be tracking my Gretsch 5655 TG. Let's get started. Be sure to check out adorama.com to get the best deals. Whether it's recording video and audio at home, setting up your live stream, or getting some music gear, Adorama has it all. So to properly mic up a guitar cab, there's a few things you need to note. Number one, you have to figure out where the speaker is within your cabinet, your guitar cabinet, or where it is within the amplifier itself, depending on what you're using. So for me, I really like to take a flashlight and try and find where the speaker exactly is. Or you could just use your phone because most phones have flashlights in them. Once you find the center of the speaker, you're gonna want to set up your microphone. So generally you want to place the mic not super close to the amp itself. You want it to be about an inch away from the microphone, and you want to point it at an angle towards the center of the speaker or the cone. It depends on the kind of sound you're going for. You could play around with microphone placement, but generally I like it a little bit off the axis. After you set everything up, you want to make sure you plug everything into the interface. That's including the DI that's going directly out of your guitar, as well as the microphone that is miking your guitar amp. One last thing to note, you're wondering how I'm using a DI and a microphone and plugging everything through my guitar at the same time. I'm actually using a pedal board, but specifically a pedal that has a signal splitter. So I'm actually coming out directly out of my guitar through one side, and then this guy is actually plugged up into the amplifier. So I'm playing through my flint pedal, and the signal is getting sent directly out into the interface and directly out into the amp itself. Okay, so once you have your microphone set up and you have both inputs plugged into your interface, we're gonna go ahead and open up the program GarageBand, and we're just gonna go ahead and start with a new template, empty project. Don't worry about all the details right now because all you have to really worry about is the input and output device. Everything else under details, you could always edit within the program itself. So make sure you are selecting the correct input and output. For this, we are using our 𝔸𝔻𝕆𝔸𝕄 USB, and choose a track type is going to pop up. The first thing we wanna do is look at our first input, and in my first input, I have my DI coming from my guitar. So we're going to choose this guitar icon, make sure it's corresponding with input number 1, which is where it's plugged into. I want to hear my instrument as I play and record. And again, if you forget to set the input, you could always click this right arrow and reset the input output device down under preferences. So once we hit the create button, we want to make sure that our gain staging is properly set, meaning we are not peaking. This green little bouncy thing here isn't going up to the red. Okay, second thing we're gonna do is we're going to right click below your guitar input 1, add a new audio track. If the recording settings don't automatically pop up down below, you could always double click that track to make it disappear and appear, or you could hit B on your keyboard. You want to make sure on your Scarlett that the input is set to the correct source. And in this case, our microphone is plugged into input 2. And one last thing, to multi-track, here is the trick. You're going to right click onto one of the tracks. You're going to hit configure track header, and you're going to want to choose record enable. And that allows you to arm both tracks and record simultaneously. So once you have record enable on, you're going to be able to record both tracks. You see this red record enable button pops up on both tracks now. And the trick is you're going to want to arm both tracks, meaning you're going to want to go into the individual tracks, hit that red record button on both tracks, and now you're able to simultaneously record through your microphone and through your direct input. Okay, just for funsies, let's record something real quick. I'm hitting the R button, or you could hit this big red dot here, that is the record button. Okay, let's listen back to both tracks. And there you have it. Multi-tracking is actually really easy. Once you have everything set up and once you have your inputs figured out, which is honestly the hardest part, track away. The cool thing about multi-tracking is it doesn't just have to be an instrument. You can actually do this for vocals or whatever you want to record. You could sing and play at the same time. You could play 5 instruments if you had 5 different hands to perform. I don't know how many people can do that, but that's very impressive. But either way, all you are bound to is the number of inputs you have on your interface. As long as you have enough inputs on your interface, that's really all that's holding you back from tracking a million other instruments at the same time. And GarageBand is capable of tracking, obviously, more than one instrument simultaneously. And lastly, if you want to share your music with any of your friends or a producer you're trying to work with or whoever, you could always drop the menu down that says share, go down to export song to disk, rename the file, I don't ask twice guitar, sure. And hit the button export. It takes literally seconds to do that. That's it for me, guys. If you have any questions, please ask us down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if you have any other tutorial ideas that you want us to tackle, please make sure to include that in the comments. We'd love to answer any questions you have. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is Raquel Lily. See you later.